You're listening to From Heaven and Hope, a weekly podcast where Nicole Frazier brings you conversations from those who have been affected by grief. Whether a parent, child, friend, counselor, pastor, or philanthropist, everyone moves through and conquers grief in their own way. We know that what you're facing is a long road, but no matter how dark that road is, there will always be light. There will always be purpose. From where they are in heaven to the hope you need to move forward, we want to help you on that journey. Here is today's episode.
Hi everyone. Today is a really special day that begins a very special week. Today, April 20th, is my second son Levi's heavenly birthday. He came and left us on this day in 2016. And then Thursday, April 22nd, is another very special little one's heavenly birthday, Miss Addison Lee, who got her angel wings in 2019 at not quite 2 years old. Addison's parents are dear friends, and the ones who we hope to continue our golf tournament with when we're able to. And finally, on April 24th, my husband Neil, who you heard from last week, will celebrate his birthday. So in honor of all this, we decided that today was a good day to do a small pivot and share a special memorial episode. Today we're going to be joined by Sherri Bocchini of McMaster Children's Hospital, where our family and Addison's family have spent a lot of time and where the funds from our future golf tournament will go. So join Sherri and I as we break down what the hospital does and how you can help.
Hi, Sherri. How are you?
I'm well. How are you this sunny, wintry day?
I'm good. Yeah, it's super snowy here today. Okay, so Sherri's obviously here from, we're focusing on McMaster Children's Hospital, but the foundation actually works with lots of different hospitals in the Hamilton area. So Sherri, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and your role with the foundation?
Sure. So I'm privileged to be Vice President Development at Hamilton Health Sciences Foundation. And we focus on all the different hospital priority needs for our partners at McMaster Children's Hospital. That includes Ron Joyce Children's Health Center, including St. Peter's Hospital, Hamilton General Hospital, and Juravinsky Hospital and Cancer Center. But I know today, and my team in particular, is privileged to lead the children's side. So really focusing in on how people in our community can have a positive impact for the children and families that rely on McMaster Children's Hospital and Ron Joyce Children's Health Center. And so just a little bit about me, really feel grateful that I can champion and advocate for the needs with my awesome team, because my own story weaves into some care at McMaster. And so had an amazing son and then needed some great care myself through the labor and delivery and women's special needs.
Awesome. So can you clarify and kind of guide us through what the purpose of the foundation and the function of the foundation is within the hospitals, particularly at MAC?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like anything, there are so many ways that our community can make a positive impact in truly helping our front care workers, our medical professionals, do the work that they want to. So primarily the foundation focuses on fundraising and gifts that can have a positive impact directly, so financial gifts. So really, we help by inspiring and motivating gifts that fund medical equipment, so high priority equipment that isn't currently funded through government support, and patient amenities. Certainly, lots of wonderful donor support research initiatives, and then redevelopment of clinical care spaces, making sure they're warm and welcoming for our families, and education and training of our healthcare providers, making sure that we are always, on the leading edge of our care.
That's awesome. It's so important for people that have to stay there for a long time too, to have comfortable and happy elements of being in a hospital setting.
Yeah, we've really seen a transition, and maybe as well. I mean, all of those amenities are thanks to the generosity of our community donors. We're trying to get away from those ideas that the hospital is only a place that's very sterile and tough. And especially in a children's area, we want kids to be kids. They're there, that's their home for a while. And so having access to toys and sensory items and things to distract and help cope so that being in the hospital can be a positive experience is really critical.
Yeah, for sure. And then moving over to the sort of more medical side, we had talked previously a little bit. And one of the things I didn't realize is how much equipment costs and then how much it is dependent on the funding from the foundation and the generosity of donors.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a wake-up call, and feel so fortunate to live in a very generous region that really, supports at all levels. Every dollar really counts, and really, most people aren't aware that equipment and a lot of those amenities are really dependent on foundation funds. So, the government funds hospital salaries and operating costs, contributes to capital projects, but donors really fund the equipment used to diagnose, treat, and care for patients. So everything from replacing the most basic necessities to investing in the most sophisticated new technologies. And when that's your loved one, your neighbor, somebody you care about, you really want to make sure that they have access to the very best tools and resources.
Yeah, I can empathize with that for sure. That was something that we actually tried to make some money for, is to raise money for a dialysis machine that would function properly for little babies, because that was something that was needed for our case, and that you really see is sort of a need on a personal level that makes you kind of want to give back.
And what's really interesting is that all equipment is not created equal. So for our littlest, most fragile, vulnerable babies, a piece of equipment that's designed for an adult doesn't work. And so, it needs to be customized for that approach. And so we're so grateful to be able to support, through the generosity of our donors, equipment that really not only is, the most sophisticated diagnostic tools, but also just is the right fit for our little ones. It's very tough on families if they're seeing a little 2-year-old on a full adult size stretcher, for example. It can be very traumatic. And so having something that's an appropriate size, really does matter beyond just the care. It's also about, all of the components that make up being a part of the hospital.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the ways that the foundation does give money, or does create, I guess, funds for the hospital, is through the events that you run as a foundation. So what kind of events does the foundation run themselves?
Great. So we really host signature events that we hope engage our entire community to be a part. And, coming up for McMaster Children's Hospital, we have Mac Kids Walk and Wheel, and it's from June 4th to June 13th, 2021. And so this is a family-friendly walk, run, or bike ride, and all money raised goes directly to McMaster Children's Hospital, including Ron Joyce Children's Health Center. And it's a team sport, so you can register as a family, you can join a team, you can donate. Really, thank you, Nicole, with you and your family. You've reached out to your network asking people to donate $5, $10, $15, and above dollars. Every dollar counts, and you can do it online, super easy. And, right now we need lots of excuses to get outside and enjoy some fresh air. So hoping that will be one of them.
That's awesome. So with that in mind, I mean, the walk and wheel that I participated in a couple of years ago was outside all together as a big group, big fundraiser, bouncy houses, and the Teddy Bear Hospital, Tim Hortons, everybody was there. But now with COVID, obviously, things are a bit different. So can you talk a little bit about how an event like the walk and wheel has been impacted, and how people can participate now that it's a bit different?
Yes, like so many, we have had to adapt and alter our plans a little bit. We're so lucky because you can, really, you can walk, you can run, and you can bike anywhere. So we have lots of options. It's all virtual. And then asking our participants, our teams, our families, to really, with our suggestions, follow a great regime to be able to get out there, commit to a goal and, ask their network, their families and friends to, support them in their goal, their fundraising goal for it. Lots of, interesting ways that we've adopted our teddy bear hospital so that, it's really also an opportunity to raise awareness. And so through being able to have some additional resources to our participants, we're still bringing the fun to the event that won't have us all together all at once. We've had where, 1,000 people coming together all at once. So that's not safe right now, but the spirit of it is still there and the sense of community just ongoing.
Yeah. And of course the need is still there, right?
Absolutely. Those funds really raised are critical to supporting our top priority equipment and amenities at our hospital. So we rely on them and, really hopeful that people will still, respond and participate and know that it means so much to us because every dollar really goes directly to supporting our kids and their families.
That's awesome. So if someone wanted to register for the walk meal or support another team, where do they go to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a wonderful website right on our www.hamiltonhealth.ca. We have all of our events listed. There are other amazing virtual events for Strides for the General, for Hamilton General, Illuminate, which supports Juravinsky, and all of that information is all online. The other thing that would be wonderful is that we have amazing donors in our community, champions, everything from grateful families that are holding lemonade stands to, bath bombs being created to, when the time is safe golf tournaments that we all advertise in a calendar format online. And so it would be amazing if you were, to encourage, the people listening today just to go online and maybe do a little bit of shopping. There's some live Facebook streams for auctions for really cool things like, charcuterie boards that are custom made. There's so many small ways that you can have an impact and support others that are fundraising.
That's great. So obviously with COVID, things have been adjusted a little bit for MAC-run events and for third-party events, but how has the hospital been affected by COVID?
Yeah, I think if I were going to chat a little bit about McMaster Children's Hospital in particular, we've been so lucky in Ontario that we haven't had a lot of children patients admitted with COVID. But of course, as a site, as part of Hamilton Health Sciences, we're very prepared and been so proud of our hospital partners on all of the different activities to keep everyone safe, our staff safe, our patients safe, and make sure that, really, if you need care, the safest place for you to be is at McMaster Children's Hospital. That being said, in terms of, some of the regular things that donor funds support have had to change. So, once again, along the vein of wanting kids to be kids, we usually host things like big movie nights where people could come together in the hospital and enjoy arts and crafts. There are group activities that just aren't possible anymore. We try to accommodate some of them. I know on Halloween, for example, a fun movie was held in our lobby with, chairs really spread apart for a really select group of inpatients that could take advantage. But it's tough because all families can't come together in the same way that we're used to. So one of the things that we found that's incredibly valuable is through the generosity of donors, we're able to invest in some technology, including iPads that could be lent to families, staying connected. Siblings weren't able to visit in the same way that they were used to bring cheer to their sibling and just distract them. And so having access to an iPad to stay connected, to enjoy. Our child life team has been running amazing services through, connecting. Access to a music therapist has been online, which has included more people now as a result. So that's a wonderful asset. So really, there's been a lot of adapting in terms of how to still make sure that our families, when they're in hospital gaining care, still feel, that it's as close to a home setting as we can make it feel, that we're supportive of, making sure that the experience is a positive one for everyone involved. And we've had to, work through that. And then thankfully through donor dollars, we've been able to fund those extra assets.
That's amazing. So in that sort of avenue, what departments in the hospital are in the most need of funding right now?
Yeah, so we have an amazing campaign right now. First, to anyone that is interested in making a donation to the hospital, really hope that you might connect with us. We'd love to have a conversation with anyone interested. We try to, if there's an interest in a specific clinical area, really work to be able to find ways for you to make a positive impact. But we also have priorities right now in our oncology day clinic. We have had a significant increase in the number of children and families that receive that care and rely on our pediatric inpatient unit. And so it was last renovated 14 years ago, and it is time. So it's a significant expansion and renovation to allow more space. And it also is really a wonderful example of how McMaster Children's Hospital listens to patient care. So it's completely informed by the patients and families and what they're looking for. So we learned that our past clinic area didn't have enough very dedicated space to different ages. So we learned from teenagers that while they love the little ones, it can be very distracting if they're nearby when they're trying to focus on their, school studies, doing some homework, or maybe doing a video game. And so we have dedicated space now to 3 different ages so that they can really feel comfortable and at home while they're maybe sitting in a chair receiving chemo for a couple of hours.
Wow, that's intense. I mean, it's emotional, but it's important. So it's necessary, and you want them to feel at home and not feel scared and just be at home, not be comfortable. So
yeah,
that's great.
It's everything. It's the small touches too. So one of the things that was really interesting was, of course, we know that technology is how many of us, cope, especially if we're expected to sit in one place for a while. So making sure there's enough chargers, not just for, the equipment, but that there are chargers available, electrical, so that you can plug in your iPad and it doesn't die halfway through your treatment, that your family can also have access to, an opportunity to charge. The colors were informed by all different age groups coming together and picking some of their favorite tones. So making sure that the space is modern and will last the test of time.
That's great. So how can people provide that support? Like, where do they go to make that support, and how is it decided where the funds go?
So, the funds are, for something like a campaign, like our oncology campaign, it's considered a priority identified by frontline right through management into leadership. And so that's one of our priority areas. And if people would like to make a donation, I hope, Nicole, that you might be able to share my contact information. I'd love a reach out, a phone call or an email, and love to connect you in, either myself or with a team member, to share how you could, become involved. Maybe you'd consider, running an event, or maybe you'd set up a personal fundraising page that we could help you with, and reach out to your network to share, the need, or just make your own gift. And so you can also do that online at www.hamiltonhealth.ca. In terms of where other funding happens, of course, it always relates to the amount of the gift. So, this is where I really want to share the power of cumulative giving and why every dollar helps. So when somebody gives a meaningful gift to them, and that might be $25 for someone, and for someone else, it might be a different number, that all goes together into many different funds at McMaster Children's Hospital Foundation under the umbrella of Hamilton Health Sciences. And every year we work with frontline, medical professionals, management, and leadership to make sure that we are identifying the priority needs and then are able to purchase what is needed. And so, unfortunately, and welcome your community to help us with this goal. We never raise enough to meet all the needs. And so, somebody designates to a specific area, that money is spent in that area. So for example, right now, in our PICU, our intensive care unit, some monitors are a high priority piece of equipment, but so too might also be patient amenities such as sensory activities. So, being able to, feel and touch and be distracted, and even accomplish goals where you're reaching out and you need to, do some physio to reach out, but you're looking to the lovely lights that are sparkling to encourage movement and behavioral, just to help with coping. So money that is designated to that area will be spent in those areas, and we hope that we can raise enough to help out. And then, and so that's how it works. So we're grateful for every dollar.
That's awesome. And you mentioned a little bit about people hosting their own events. So what are some third-party events that someone could host?
Yeah, so we have on our website, again, a great resource called Alternatives Giving. And so that is lots of different ideas and resources and about how you can raise money even during COVID. So, people are really inventive. I love an example that I heard when COVID kind of first hit. A wonderful, grateful family got really creative. Their son had care and wanted to give back on his birthday. And so he reached out to all his friends and family that would normally have come to a big party and said, love a drive-by so I can see you. And for a donation to McMaster Children's Hospital Foundation, you are given like X number of water balloons, and you can try to hit me on my front lawn in my, in my chair. And so what a creative, fun way to, make a positive out of social distancing, have some fun, and also raise awareness and support to McMaster Children's Hospital. So, there are so many unique ways that people can give back. Certainly there's lots of talents. We have a wonderful, a new relationship where a young girl in the area has a special talent, really great at creating bags and is selling them, and all proceeds are coming back to McMaster Children's Hospital. And then online, certainly lots of different ideas on how to pivot in case you'd like to run, a virtual event, such as a live stream and auction or, something similar to that. So that would be wonderful.
That's great. So do you find that some of the families, or a lot of the families that are hosting these events, most of them either people that are currently using the hospital, have used the hospital, or more pertinent to this podcast, people that have maybe lost someone through the hospital and are trying to make a difference in their name? And how do you think that impacts their journey?
Yeah, so a couple of questions there. I would just start to say that we are so thankful. People choose to be a champion for McMaster Children's Hospital and all of Hamilton Health Sciences Foundation for so many different reasons. There's probably no one in our region that hasn't been personally impacted by the care at one of our hospitals. It might be yourself, it might be a loved one, a neighbor, a friend. And so through that, just wants to do something positive. I think for some others, it's also about, they might not have used the services, but they want them to be exceptional for when that might be a time of need for someone they care for or themselves. And so healthcare is something that impacts all of us. And so they're kindly wanting to make a positive impact. And then, certainly our grateful families. And that includes, of course, unfortunately at times loss. And it's been very powerful to me. I haven't personally had that experience, but I feel so fortunate to work with individuals that have shared some of their journey with me, to say that by being included, by participating in a way that helps give back, it has been positive for their grief journey. And so that is so powerful and very meaningful to us at the foundation, that through that experience, we're offering an outlet, a resource, an opportunity to kind of give back, to maybe turn that situation into a little bit more of, positive interaction. And we're here to support those goals. So, it's not about it has to be a certain amount of money. Sometimes it can be something that is just a personal commitment. It's anything from choosing McMaster Children's Hospital, for in memoriam gifts. There are many wonderful donors who choose that. And others that want to go a little bit further, maybe set up an event, maybe set up a fund that goes to a specific purpose and ask their network to give back so that they can find something that makes sense, that they might have seen as a gap in when they were there as a care, that they'd like to have, an extra large, they'd like to fund a cart that might go around with palliative care to make sure there are great books and resources and, really soft Kleenexes and other things that are needed. Those are the kinds of things that people in our network have helped make a difference for.
That's great. Personally speaking, it does create kind of it makes it so that when you go back to the hospital, there is a positive association, as you always have the memory and the heartbreak, but there is positive when you start to associate with something else, dropping off checks or coordinating for an event. So yeah, I can speak personally to that for sure. Can you talk a little bit about the donor wall and how that works? Because that's one of the things that makes it positive for me when I go back.
Yeah, so the donor wall is an opportunity for the foundation to appreciate all gifts and to honor the interaction of that generosity. And so all different kinds of, fundraising are recognized on our donor wall. So we have a central donor wall system that recognizes cumulative giving. So for some, it might take many years. They're fundraising over 10 years to get on the donor wall. At $10,000 and above, all of our donors are permanently recognized. If the giving's to a specific site, then it's on that wall. And over $25,000, that giving is recognized on all of our donor walls at all of our sites. And then it continues to grow. So some people, that's such a source of pride to see their giving accumulate. If it's an event, the event is recognized and there's an opportunity there to, share in celebration of someone or in recognition of someone who had received the care or perhaps even passed away. And so it's really special to be able to come to the donor wall. And right now, while people aren't there, some of my staff members are taking photos with their iPhones and just texting to our donors as, a new donor wall is going up. And, we get such positive feedback about, just seeing that name, seeing that effort being recognized on a donor wall, that's going to be there forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's one of our biggest kind of proud moments is seeing that not our names, but our son's name on that wall that will be there forever, which is really, really cool. So I'm hopeful we'll be able to keep going with that. Well, it'll be a different tournament, but our tournament's coming up when this wraps up. Are there any third-party events going on that are COVID safe that someone could register in or participate in? This is airing on April 20th, so anytime after that.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are always lots of third-party events. And so really going to our website and maybe bookmarking it and coming back regularly, because we get, wonderful notices through social media and it's constantly being updated and populated. So going to our website, once again, at www.hamiltonhealth.ca, there's a great place there to be able to see all of our upcoming events. And, sometimes it's just not only just participating in an event, but supporting through, maybe doing a purchase or our care for marketing, supporting one of our partners that a portion of proceeds come back. So, it's everything from if you're thinking about a new insurance carrier, getting a quote and sharing that you're doing that because you raised awareness about their company through Hamilton Health Sciences, a donation is made back to our organization. So all of that's on our website and our Care for partnerships are there. Our third-party events are all there. And we love to have the community engaged in different ways.
That's great advice. I don't think I even realized that there was partners that you could select just for your everyday basic needs that would generally benefit the hospital. Like, you're going to pay anyways, might as well bring something back. So that's great.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. And following us on social media, so on our Twitter and Facebook also just helps raises it, or Instagram is really popular. We have a really active social media, and so love to highlight. So you might find some, interesting ideas there too.
Good advice. So I know we're only in April when we air this, but when we think about the holidays, that's usually the time for giving for a lot of people. So while the hospital's needs are constant, what are some things that happen around the holiday season that people could think about?
Yes, well, as you know, these are different times. And so, just trying to stay within the COVID-19 context. One of the biggest needs that we had was in supporting bedside activities and sensory activities and sensory equipment, which includes, everything from glow in the dark to projectors that help, calm children, help, with physical and educational milestones. And so we took our toy drive because we had great restrictions on our ability to do that. And we already have wonderful partners that help make sure that every kid in the hospital has the opportunity at the holiday season to have a gift if they'd like. So we took it to do something called Toy Drive Reimagined. And so if you were to go to www.hamiltonhealth.ca/toys, people can make a donation of any amount. And it describes all the different kinds of things that we are able to purchase as a result of that kindness. And it was matched, and we hope, again, it will be matched by a wonderful corporate donor. So every time you gave $1, it was matched again. So it was a real opportunity. This past year, over $33,000 was raised through Toy Drive Reimagined. And they are so excited in the Child Life team to be able to go and purchase all the bedside activities for several units now that didn't have access prior to that activity. Normally we have a wonderful partnership at Maple View Mall where you can do gift wrapping, but of course that didn't happen this year. And we're so grateful to them. They made a corporate gift in lieu, so they really understand that need. But, there are lots of wonderful activities that would normally happen when it's not COVID during the holiday season. And we would advertise those all on hamilton.health. Also just want to do a shout out for Giving Tuesday. So that's November 30th this year. And so certainly stay tuned for more details, but that's when we launch our Gift of Health. So that's an opportunity for people to give back to all our sites during the holiday season. And people are so kind. During the holiday season, it really is a time when so many reflect on others. And as part of their celebration, as part of their spirit, they give back. And so especially with healthcare being a high priority, something that means something to everyone, that really is a key time for many of our donations come in during November and December.
That's great. So we talked a lot, we've mentioned it a few times through here, but haven't actually dug into what it means. So can you talk a little bit about the Child Life team and what their purpose is?
Yeah.
At the hospital, even though it's not directly affiliated to the foundation, it's sort of connected.
It is. It's an area where we are so proud to make a very substantial foundation support for our Child Life team. We have one of the best Child Life teams in all of Canada. It is one of the largest teams as well. The investment is substantial. And so their goal is really to help support our children and families with having a very positive experience in the hospital setting. So, imagine your child, a young one, coming in and the experience of having to get a needle. So the Child Life team helps with coping mechanisms and awareness and education on what's happening next, and to prepare children and families so that that can be a positive experience instead of a negative one. So there were the days, hopefully decades ago, where unfortunately a child would panic and you'd have to hold them down. Imagine how traumatic that is for the kid as well as a parent while they're getting a needle for something that's really important. And so the Child Life team might use this experience in advance with, a special doll that actually even has veins running through it, plastic veins running through it, and show that actually a needle does have a little prick, but it's actually like a straw. Most people don't realize that how they're actually able to access the blood and be able to take some blood is actually through a little straw. So being able to see it, to touch it, to be able to see that straw really can minimize the panic. To discuss strategies such as there are different ways to be able to apply a tourniquet so that we can really make sure that we get it on the first try. So this is what the Child Life team shares. They come up with a strategy and they try it in advance so child knows what to anticipate, and therefore it takes away the fear factor. So just as an example of what our Child Life team, facilitates, there's so many different ways that they're really helping support the families, help with coping strategies and awareness so that the experience is a positive one where maybe it would be very scary if it wasn't provided.
Yeah. They when in our last kind of day with Brady, like he was pretty like out of it, but they were the ones that came in and were able to do the clay hands. So, which is just so beautiful. Like we still have those. And that was just, I didn't even realize Child Life was a thing until until they came in. And I'm so grateful for them because like, that's something we wouldn't typically have. And we don't have them with any of our other kids. So it's beautiful.
And so, these are highly trained medical professionals. The program, one of the best programs and one of the only programs in Canada is actually at McMaster University, and it is highly competitive. And so I'd like to think that we get the very best we recruit the very best at McMaster Children's Hospital. And so their energy, their time, they are also the ones that support all the group activities that we talked about that have pivoted. To make the experience, as like kids being kids as possible.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so this has been really, really great, really enlightening, really helpful, really special episode. It's airing on a really special day, really special week. So I really thank you for that, Sherri. Just lastly, I know we've repeated it over and over, but where can people find you? Where can people find the events? We'll also have them listed on our show notes, but just in case anybody's listening in a car or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I would really encourage everybody. My information is on the website, access to my email, my phone number, my whole team, but really encourage you to go to www.hamiltonhealth.ca. We love having phone conversations, email interactions, and one day, in-person interactions will be much more common again with our community to be able to help just understand and listen to what your goals might look like and give some suggestions and help and support. We're so grateful for anyone who wants to try to give back and know that you're making a very positive difference. And, on behalf of Hamilton Health Sciences Foundation and McMaster Children's Hospital Foundation, really want to thank you, Nicole, for this amazing opportunity to raise awareness about the incredible impact every person can have in our community. And if you are listening even further abroad, encourage you to connect with your local regional healthcare system. Every dollar truly does matter. And I know, your heart just expands when you have the thought of how you can be making another person's journey a little bit better through your efforts. So thank you for this experience. Thank you for your kindness, your compassion, your efforts on behalf of helping raise money yourself with your family and your network. And then, just trying to raise the idea with others.
Thanks so much. Okay. All right. I think that's it. If anybody has anything they want to add or want to ask Sherri, you can access her email through the show notes or through hamiltonhealth.ca. Thanks so much.